everybody, my name is Ananya Kantraj. So here today I am with another video which is of the topic hybrid vehicles versus the electric vehicles. So let us look into the context of the the first is about the introduction to petrol vehicles and introduction to the hybrid vehicles. Then we can discuss about the advantages of petrol vehicles, its disadvantages, including the advantages of hybrid vehicles and also its disadvantages, and also the comparison between a petrol vehicle and a hybrid vehicle and which would I prefer at the end. Next. So before buying a car, it is a very challenging task as you all have an endless option to choose from. And now, to make things trickier, there's another option which is called as the electric vehicles. So, with more and more manufacturers launching electric cars in India, it is worth considering as an option. But before that, you have to know how an EV fares against a conventional petrol car to make an informed decision. So, what do you know about a petrol vehicle? A petrol car is a vehicle equipped with an IC, which is nothing but an internal combustion engine that burns the fuel to propel the car. A petrol engine car's powertrain includes an engine, a transmission, a drive shaft axles, and a differential. An IC engine burns the mixture of the petrol and air with the help of a spark through the spark plugs and generates the mechanical energy. And the mechanical energy is later, which is transferred to the transmission, which relays the power to the wheels via the drive shafts and the differentiation. Introduction to electric vehicles. So, what do you think about the electric vehicles? An electric vehicle is equipped with an electric powertrain that compresses a battery pack, an electric motor, and a transmission. The energy stored in the battery pack is transmitted to the electric motor by a controller, and the motor converts the electrical energy into mechanical energy via the transmission that propels the wheels. So, what are the advantages of using a petrol vehicle? We can see through the above points. It says nothing but you can select from a wide range of petrol vehicles available in the market. Like you have a very wide option of different types of cars which you wish to buy according to your customized orders or anything. Conventional petrol cars are available even at affordable price. So you can choose any of the cars at the starting rate, which is from a smaller range to a higher range. The petrol vehicles offer an engaging driving experience with a better acceleration, handling, and top speed. So you can see the characteristics of a petrol vehicle in the third point. So the fourth point says that the petrol engines last longer than the electric motors, which are found in electric vehicles. So you can see that in the electric vehicles, when we compare, the petrol engine lasts longer than them. So the fifth point says that a vast network of service centers and easy availability of expert machines, mechanics make it easier to own a petrol car. So it's nothing but the service centers and the availability of the mechanics, which is expertise in the field of petrol vehicles, may be quite dominant when compared to the electric vehicles. So next comes the petrol fuel stations are available everywhere, so refueling is never an issue. But when compared to the electric vehicles, it is always an issue since it is without a fuel, so we would have to run behind the electrical energy. So hence we can say that the petrol fuel stations are abundant, especially in India or in any other country. Hence, refilling is never an issue when it comes to a petrol vehicle. So, conventional cars can run long distances on a full tank of a fuel. So, when you compare the distance of a petrol car, we can observe that while we are traveling a short distance, it's always the petrol engines or the petrol vehicles give a few acceleration or the few frequency of the speed. But when you're going for a long distance journey or with the help of the petrol vehicles, you can see that it's very smooth and a safe drive. Next. So, what are the advantages of using electric vehicles? So, electrical vehicles are also a boom when compared to the petrol vehicles. So, electric cars are easy to drive due to the simple controls and they are silent in operation due to the absence of mechanical parts. So, we can observe that when we are driving a petrol vehicle, beside us, if there's an electric vehicle, we can never observe that there is a vehicle next to us due to the absence of the mechanical parts, which makes the engine silent. So, which like there's no engine, so it just makes it silent during operation. So when next comes the electric vehicles, they deliver quick acceleration due to the high torque available from the get-go. So it's nothing but they get the quick acceleration due to the torque. So the fourth one says that the low maintenance and the service intervals are not as frequent as petrol vehicles, and it is also at low running cost. And electric cars produce a zero emission and help to reduce the carbon footprints. When compared to the atmosphere, the electric cars are not, contributing to the any of the global warming or any of the contagious gases released to the atmosphere, which can cause harm to the any living being on this planet. Next comes you can charge the electric cars at your home provided you install a home charging system. So it says that we can charge the electric cars even at home or even at public charging systems. And also the electric vehicles are eligible for government provided subsidies and tax benefits if you buy through an electric vehicle on a loan. So it also says that the electric vehicles are provided under loans scheme as same when compared to the petrol vehicles. So it is already provided for the government subsidies, including the tax benefits, etc. Disadvantages of petrol vehicles. Disadvantages of petrol vehicles are nothing but the running cost of petrol engine power cars are high because petrol is more expensive than electrical energy, which is actually true. So the running cost of the petrol engine, which is like the cars with the petrol engine, it's more expensive when compared to the electrical energy as the fuel recharge or the maintenance when compared to the electric vehicle, it's quite more. And also the maintenance cost is also higher side due to the complex mechanical components. Due to the presence of the mechanical components which are quite complex than the electric vehicles, we can say that the maintenance cost is also high in petrol vehicles when compared to the electric vehicles. And it produces harmful carbon emissions which pollute the environment. So it also says that the petrol vehicles uses the fuel which converts into the mechanical energy and runs the car. It produces the carbon emissions which pollute the environment, which is also a true point when compared to the electric vehicles. Since they have an absence of the mechanical part, there is no emission of any other kind of gases into the atmosphere. Next. So, what are the disadvantages of electric vehicles? When you're talking about the disadvantages of electric vehicles, you can see that the driving range of electrical vehicles is low. So, you can cover a long distance without charging the car. But that's not the case when it comes to petrol vehicles. And lack of public charging stations can be an issue when driving your electric vehicles for a long distance, which is one of the main important point to be noted here. It's nothing but the lack of public charging stations. Maybe not all places might have the charging stations, but when there is a requirement of emergency and we need to leave to a place, it would be a hectic or a huge problem to us. Since not all places would be having a public charging stations, where there will be an issue for the vehicle to move forward. Installing a home charging module is an added expense. So obviously, so installing a home charging module is quite at an expense when compared to the petrol vehicles, since it does not require any of the charging points. So lack of expert mechanics to service or repair eco-friendly cars, which might also be a major disadvantage of an electric vehicle. Since in petrol vehicles, you can find expertized mechanics on each and every location. That's not the same case with the electric vehicles. Lack of expert mechanics. So next comes the replacing the battery pack of an electric vehicle can burn a hole in your pocket, which is nothing but it says that it's quite expensive when compared of to a petrol car's battery being exchanged or replacing or refilling. It meant to be that. So next, we can look into the comparison between the electric car and a petrol car. So what are the parameters? First comes the fuel. So when you consider the fuel, electric cars always have uses electrical energy and petrol cars always use petrol. which is nothing but the fuel. When it comes to the parameter of the power, electric cars always use electric motors, and their petrol cars run through internal combustion engine. It is nothing but an IC engine. When it comes to the parameter of cost, electric cars are very expensive, which is nothing but as of a high price, and petrol cars are nothing but which are of affordable than electric vehicles when it comes to cost. So the next parameter is cost of the fuel. Electric cars applies that the cost of the fuel is low since it uses a charging point. But when it comes to a petrol vehicle, the charge is quite high. There's nothing but the cost of the fuel. So cost of maintenance in an electric car is quite low when compared to the petrol car, since the maintenance of petrol car is quite high due to the presence of abundant expertise mechanics at each and every location. So fuel efficiency, when we consider, the electric cars have higher in the city and lower on the highways, which was discussed in the advantages and disadvantages, including the petrol car. It has higher on highways and lower in city roads. It has the fuel efficiency. Next, carbon emissions. So electric car contributes zero to the global warming, whereas compared to the petrol cars, it is quite high, which is nothing but of the harmful gases or the pollution which is caused in the cities. Next. So which to prefer? So it's nothing but a vital question which can be addressed here. Is it should you buy an electric car or a petrol car? It entirely depends on your requirements and geographical location. So, but that's the basic point. An electric versus petrol car is a talk of the town in the Indian automotive market, which is a boon to a present situation. And but in the end, it's your requirement which matters to make a choice. So it is very obvious. So it is you who want to prefer an electric car or a petrol car. So if you're looking for something daily commute, if you reside in a metro city and driving involves just commuting to your work, an electric vehicle can be a practical solution, provided you're willing to pay the price it demands. If you're looking for all-in-one car, which is nothing but like if you're looking for do-it-all car that offers a punchy performance, then an electric vehicle might not be a sensible option to choose. Instead, we can remember that charging infrastructure is not in all place at a large scale level, and thus charging the car can be a challenge. Also, you can buy a petrol car at affordable prices and save some more money. To sum it up, electric vehicles are not a bad option considering the current scenario, but they can't be your only car. So I can say that I would prefer either an electric car or a petrol car, but not entirely an electric car and not entirely a petrol car. It depends on each and everyone's perception. So thank you for watching my video, and please do like, share, subscribe, and